can separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Even with R. Kelly.
Oh, fuck that. Because the art is also like all talking about probably the underage girls he's like.
And Ricky Martin's not really singing about a girl, but, I don't care.
Yeah, but he's still singing about love and stuff, like, and like doing it.
I'm still going to listen
with adults.
to Ignition. In fact, there's all kinds of examples of like older music that it really is definitely about. That was a really common thing back in the day.
Yeah, I know.
He's just a man. He's just born a little too late.
He just should have been born in the 20s.
Yeah, or had women that were born a little earlier. Let's start the show. Fuck this. You got insurance.
Right.
Well, I don't know if you're wondering where the black men are at, but here I am.
Here I am.
Not so much the lamp now, is it?
Right.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Once Upon A BnB. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ian.
This is Maha, and we have a special guest joining us. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
You were telling us you drove in from Nashville last night and are leaving today, and you came just to be on our podcast?
Just to be on the show.
Oh,
I was
God.
just in Atlanta a few weeks ago
Shed a single thug tear.
to do some work on my Airbnb that is in Atlanta. And
Okay.
and then I found out about this podcast, and I was like, oh, man, I wish I'd found out a little bit sooner because I have a great story to share with y'all. And so I
Not too late. Not too
Right.
late.
not
It's
too
never
late.
too late. So your Airbnb is here in Atlanta?
hmm
Okay, where at?
So it's in Adams Park, which is kind of it's one of the older neighborhoods in Atlanta, and it's in the Southwest. It's kind of near West End. And,
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, where mine is in that area. I'm in Venetian Hills, so not too far.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's that neighborhood has transitioned a lot
Yeah.
since I bought the house, and
It's such a halfway transition, though. My brother and sister-in-law live there. Like, certain things transition, but it's still so fucking hood. Like,
it definitely is.
like it'll be
yeah.
like this like organic grocery store and shit, but there's like a crackhead hitting a pipe
yeah,
outside.
it's like a true mix.
Yeah, that's so Atlanta, though. That is how things are here, basically.
Yeah.
That's your only Airbnb?
Yeah, so it's my only Airbnb, and I bought the house in 2017, summer of 2017, and I lived in it for 2 years. So it was not my initial intention to start an Airbnb,
Mm-hmm.
but I got a work opportunity in Nashville, and they paid for, I had like a relocation package and stuff, so I could actually hold on to the house
Oh, nice.
and turn it into a passive income stream. I started it. It was an Airbnb starting in February of 2019. So it's
Okay.
been, about 3 years.
How are you liking Nashville? Sorry, to switch topics slightly, but
So Nashville's good.
versus Atlanta.
Yeah, I like it a lot more
Oh,
for a couple of different reasons. I mean, one is that Nashville is a lot smaller. So you can go from like one side to the city to the other in about 20 minutes.
oh, okay.
And like traffic is still kind of iffy there, but not anything like Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like Atlanta's a whole different beast.
Right. One of the worst in the country.
Yeah. To go from one side to the city to the other can take you over an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And
If you count the metro area, easily from like South Henry County to like super North Gwinnett,
yeah,
it's like 4 hours.
yeah. And I have a house there, and the location of that is an awesome area. It's like really nice, and I'm about 2 miles from the Titan Stadium
Oh, cool.
and Broadway and all that.
Yeah.
So everything's like right there. I'm
It's like just close enough, but like just far enough so that
Yeah.
you're not like,
because I live on a quiet street,
Yeah.
and it feels like I'm in my own like little bubble,
yeah.
And then I still have access to everything.
Very different than Southwest Atlanta, I'd
Very-
imagine.
Yeah, very different in Southwest Atlanta. So like the area where my house is in Adams Park it's nice for some certain things. Like it's close to the airport. It's like maybe 15 minutes to like the state to Mercedes-Benz and to Midtown and everything. So there's easy access there. There's not really like great restaurants around. I'm hoping that that's coming. And
There's a lot of good breweries over there now, like in that area now that
In-
like
in
on the
Lee and
Beltline
White.
and stuff. Yeah.
right, yeah.
Malt
Lee and White.
Disney, as they call it.
Yeah.
Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
That's cute. Malt Disney. All
Malt
right.
Disney.
Yeah. That's
Clever.
cute.
I'll check that out.
Yeah.
And all that stuff is kind of newer.
Yeah.
Like
and
before,
they're adding a food
Oh
hall
yeah,
to
when
that,
you were
too.
there, all that wasn't.
Yeah, that
as
was
developed.
not. Yeah, that was not there. Like Lee and White and that whole area
Yeah.
was not there.
There's like Monday Night Brewing, Monday Night Garage, bunch of other
Best End
stuff.
Brewery.
Best End.
They have
yeah.
bomb
Wild
cauliflower
Heaven.
wings. Wild Heaven, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff now. You left just too like
I
a
know.
couple years too soon.
I was thinking about moving back. I mean, the area has gotten better now.
It's not that much better though. We pretty much just named every good thing that they've added, but no, I'm hating. It's still good. It's nice. It's very nice now.
My house is on a very quiet street in Adams Park. I've never seen any crime or anything, and it's a great spot to have an Airbnb. It's been amazing. I've had probably 70 guests or so far over the past 3 years, and
How does that shake out like occupancy rates like per month? Like how?
So my terms have changed a little bit. So when I started it, I was doing like the minimum of 2 days, 2 or 3 days.
Uh-huh.
And now I do minimum of 30 days. So like rent it by the month. Mainly because I operate it remotely and I live in Nashville. So it's,
You don't have to worry about like, turning it over and stuff.
yeah, turnaround is like way easier.
Awesome.
And also like the guests, the clientele you get from having.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine.
You don't get like the party people, you get like business people.
Yeah,
I'm going to
there
guess
for
your
work.
story is from the pre-month guests before you started switching to month-long guests.
So it's both.
Okay.
It's kind of.
I'm excited for this. Our producer said when you told him his mouth was like open through the entire story. So
Yeah.
hit us with the story. What is it?
Okay. Yeah. I can.
I don't know why I air punched you. That was weird, but
So I'll start from the very beginning, give you guys some background about the house and stuff. So when I purchased the house in 2017, I think after I had placed an offer on it, the real estate agent let me know that previous owner had committed suicide in the house.
oh yikes! Wait, like during the sale of it or like prior?
So I think I found out I had already put an offer, but before I closed on the house, I was told that information.
So you didn't meet the previous owner.
No,
Oh.
So he committed suicide in the house, in the master bedroom, and
In what manner?
so I don't know.
Give me all the gory details.
I don't know exactly how he did it, but I heard that it was asphyxiation with a plastic bag.
What? Who does that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That sounds like a terrible way to go.
I was wondering if it was even like some kind of weird freak accident. or
Autoerotic
something,
association?
but- What's that?
Autoerotic association?
Perhaps.
I don't think that
know.
involves a plastic bag over your head, right? Isn't that a belt around your neck? Not that I know, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, what other freak accident would be if you're sticking it? Oh, you mean just like randomly you're like in a bag and then
you're just playing around in a bag and stayed in there too long.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like, I don't know. You're like, I'm thinking a laundry bag right now. Like your suits come
I
back.
don't think you would.
dry
I don't
cleaning.
think you would suffocate in that. That seems pretty porous. Like you could breathe through
Freak
it.
accidents we're talking about here. Well, maybe we should stop speculating about this poor man's death.
I know. I'm sorry. I did not mean to laugh. R.I.P. to that guy.
Also, for the listeners out there, like if you are thinking about suicide, do not do it. There are two main reasons why I would say that you should not commit suicide. Number one, life is beautiful. Life is a gift. And you should,
Absolutely.
If your life has grown so complex and you're confused and you feel like there's no way out, there always is a way out. And then number two is you commit suicide, you don't know what those implications would be on a potential afterlife. So it could potentially have very serious ramifications in the next life.
Good.
So I know it's kind of heavy, but
I know. Now I feel like an asshole for making the jokes about it. But no, please, yes, listen.
And number
Great
three,
advice.
you're surviving friends and family. It's gonna
Yeah.
affect them too
exactly.
Sucks for them a lot, forever.
in their current lives.
Yeah.
So, this house, I was told that information. I still wanted to go through and buy the house. It was a great deal. I mean, the house,
Now we know why.
the price, yeah, exactly. It's possible that the price was impacted because of this.
Yeah.
Because I think that there are probably some people out there who would probably not buy the house.
A lot of
like,
people, I think.
there's a lot of like whether you're superstitious or religious, there's probably a lot of reasons why you would not buy the house. But I just wanted to buy the house because it was a great price, great location. I was like, let's do it.
What are your, maybe it's changed, but at the time of purchase, your thoughts on spooky stuff? You believe in that,
Yeah,
superstition?
So me, I am not superstitious at all. So I was raised Catholic.
Same.
And then but I do not practice. I don't go to church now. I'm more of I'm spiritual. I'm not an atheist, but I think I do believe in a life after death. I've never believed in ghosts or that there would be some kind of crossover between life after death and our reality.
Ooh, is this foreshadowing?
Well, he also said a Halloween rap. We might have a scare B&B situation on our hands.
Is this an episode of Scare B&B? I'm excited.
This is definitely an episode of Scare B&B.
Yes.
So I bought the house and, I lived in it for 2 years. I'm not superstitious. I didn't see anything. I mean, I lived there for 2 whole years, never saw a thing that could make me believe that there would be a spirit or a ghost. So...
Something gives me the feeling there might be.
Did you live there by yourself or any other?
So I had a roommate there who lived with me just about the entire time. I also had a dog, or I have a dog still, Boomer.
Shout out to Boomer.
Yeah, shout out to Boomer. He was a fellow roommate as well. And Boomer may even come into the story a little bit later on.
What kind of pup is Boomer? Now, I was tempted to ask earlier, but now I got to know.
But so I have 2 Australian cattle dogs.
Oh.
So I didn't have Callie at the time, but Boomer is like a blue merle,
Is that an Australian shepherd? Is that the same thing?
No, it's not the same thing. So Australian cattle dog, they actually have blood from Australia. Australian shepherds do not.
Okay.
Oh.
And they're short.
Real Aussie.
I know, right?
They're like true Aussies, and they're part dingo.
Okay, cool.
So they got a little wild dog in them.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Janet does too. She's a beast.
Little dingo. Yeah, and they've been awesome dogs. They've been great. So yeah, I lived in the house for 2 years, didn't see anything, turned it into an Airbnb.
Did your roommates see anything or ever complain about anything?
I don't think so.
Dogs ever barking into the air, staring at space?
No, nothing strange. I mean, I spent a lot of time and I fixed up the house during that time. I did a full bathroom renovation, replaced the ceilings, painting, doing all the stuff to... You
did that yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Except for the ceilings.
I was going to say, that sounds intense. All right.
Ceilings were kind of intense because it was plaster.
Yeah.
And you had to rip all that down. But I did do the bathroom renovation.
All things that you would think would, ruffle some feathers with the afterlife. Nothing.
Leave my goddamn bathroom alone.
Actually, maybe not.
I like that tile.
I like what you've done in the place.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to take that ceiling down.
I hate that ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. If the previous owner, if he could see me working on his house, maybe he would appreciate it or not. So I start renting it out. I moved to Nashville, and when I started renting it out, it was short turnovers, so I was having lots of guests. And I've had about, I would say, 5 or 6 guests so far who have claimed that they've seen supernatural things.
Unrelated guests?
Yeah, unrelated guests who do not know each other at different points in time through the course of 3 years.
And they have no idea what's happened there prior.
No, of course not. I'm not
advertising. You'd be surprised, dude. If you did advertise that, you'd probably be fully booked for years. There's so many places. Anyways, continue.
I mean, maybe I would think that it would turn a lot of people away.
There's a lot of freaks out there.
Yeah, there were
2 listings.
I know.
2 listings.
Yeah, you should definitely do 2 listings to see which one gets booked.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I don't know. Can you have 2 listings
for
the same property?
I did it with when I had a basement unit. Yeah, you can. You absolutely can. You just have to coordinate with each, between them.
Okay.
So what type of things did they describe seeing, these 5 guests?
So the first one was it started out pretty just noises. So I had one guest leave because I kept hearing sounds in the house. They left early and they were like, "Sorry, we can't we just can't do this. And I was like, what?
It's an old house. Houses make noise. You're stop being pussy.
Yeah.
Right.
So the house was built in 1920. It's an older house.
Yeah.
And
There's
like,
got to be some noises.
and I'm like, I'm sorry, but
I did the bathroom myself. I'm sorry it squeaks a little bit.
So there were noises, and then, and obviously I wrote that off, and I was like, whatever. Then I had a guest who was like this really nice Christian family who was moving from Portland and looking to buy a house in Atlanta. So they're using my house as like a staging area. And they stayed there for about 2 months. And so they didn't mention anything to me while they were staying there. But I actually met her in person before she left. And she was like, your house was great. Like, we were very comfortable there. Like, thanks for being such a awesome host. Except for we saw some stuff. Like we saw some really weird things happen in your house. And or like we were sitting at the kitchen table like for lunch.
Yeah.
And they saw a bowl move right in front of them about like 6 to 8 inches, like move
What?
to the side. And they were like, what?
Table's not level.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
No,
I mean,
probably a ghost.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. And then they also said they saw there was a handprint on the mirror. There's 2 bathrooms in the house, and this was in the half bath. I've got a big mirror in there. And they saw a handprint on the mirror that was bigger than any of their hands. Like, it didn't match any of their hands. And they cleaned it off. And then the very next day, it was there in the same place.
What? Oh my gosh.
And
see, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts or anything, but I can be convinced.
I just thought of a perfectly rational explanation for that. You stick your hand on there, your smaller hand, and then as the water,
yeah, it gets bigger. But what's the explanation for it coming back the next day?
All right, it's a family. Is there kids involved?
I mean, they had kids, but she was the one who
saw it. I'm just saying, could be a little fucking kid.
Kids touch things. I don't know.
All right, I'm still listening. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, or not devil's advocate, but like
no,
you're
sure.
lawyering this shit right now.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. No. I mean, talk me out of thinking about this. I mean, it's,
I'm into it. I told you I could be convinced.
So that was one guest.
Those are the two.
Or two.
Those are the two. I meant those are the two things. Is there any other examples of
Did they also hear sounds
paranormal
or just
activity?
See those things?
No, they didn't hear that. That particular guest didn't hear sounds. I think that was it from her. There was another guest who was claiming like doors slamming shut. And
That's a classic paranormal activity thing.
Right, but were the windows open?
Yeah, I don't know. It could have been airflow or something like that. It doesn't typically happen in my house, but that could have happened.
Let's just let this be scary. Stop explaining. Both of us.
So time goes on. My father has also seen weird things in the house.
Really?
He stays there on occasion because he's like basically my maintenance guy. Like if something breaks, he'll fix it for me.
Dads.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You're the best.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate handyman.
Dad is also that for me.
And so he called me after it happened, and he was genuinely very spooked.
Now you got someone you trust a little bit. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he says, and I actually just talked to him this morning again about it, but this was a while ago now. This was at least a year and a half, 2 years ago. And he said that he had the lights on. He was in the master bedroom, and he laid down on, I have a memory foam mattress. He was laying down, like sitting up in the bed. And he said that he felt somebody sit down next to him, and he saw like the imprint go into the memory foam. And
what does that mattress remember in that bedroom?
And then he said he also saw, I guess during the same period, the same day, he saw a shadow that was much darker than normal, and that he felt like a very dark presence.
Oh God.
And he called me. He was like shaking and like very like.
And your dad knows about like
does he know
about the suicide?
Yeah. He knows about it and stuff. And we had guests complain, prior to him having that experience.
Now things are starting to add up.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah. And so time goes on. I had another guest, and this is one of my most recent guests. This guy, Josh, contractor. He rented my house for actually about like 9 months. He was there for a very long time. And
is that cost efficient? Like,
I think
I would assume that it's more expensive than
he probably just expenses it out. And stuff.
Okay.
But I mean, so 24 hours after he got there, I get a text through Airbnb saying, "Is your place haunted?" And I'm like, "What? Like, is this a joke?"
That's
like,
from the guest or from Airbnb support?
I know. Right.
Yeah, I know. Like Airbnb support, it's like I call them and be like, "Hey, what do I do if my place is haunted? Like you got any pointers for me?" Or like,
you know how they have like the
does
commercials now, and
insurance
it's
cover
like
that?
the commercials now are like select castle, and they're like showing the kids run through castle. I've seen it for another select haunted house.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think? Again, I think you can make another listing for it,
especially for the month of October. I feel like you could.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know that there's ghost hunters out there, and like if there is any supernatural activity out there, this is definitely an area where there's an increased level of it.
So you get a message: "Is your house haunted?"
And then?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like, so why would you think that? And he's like, well, I just feel like somebody's watching me right now, and he's like, I got the same feeling in my mother's house, and like, I was like, what? Sorry, there's nobody else there. Like, I guarantee you. And like, and he's like, no, like, I think there's somebody here watching me. And like, as time went on, we kind of.
Wait, was his mother's house haunted?
So I'll get to that. So as time went on, like, I got to the point where I trusted him a little bit more, and like, I had told him that the previous owner had committed suicide in the house.
Yeah.
And he was like a guy around my age, and like, I figured he'd be like okay with it. And so he was like, oh my gosh. He's like, so my mother's house, that had also happened. Like the previous owner of their house had committed suicide. And he's like, I had the same feeling as I did in that house as I do in your house.
Wow.
And
what you got to say now, Ian?
And I'm like, man, this is like getting deep. Like I couldn't believe it. And like,
but he stayed?
Yeah, he stayed. I mean, he's like, I'm a little spooked out, but I mean, the place is nice and like.
But this is a deal.
Sean's like, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, and for the record, like my house, like it doesn't look like a haunted house. Like it's not like some dilapidated crackhead house.
Like the image behind you.
It's not like a stereotypical looking haunted house. I mean, it just looks like a regular house, and I've done a lot of work to like,
make it nice,
keep up with it and stuff. So you wouldn't, it's very unassuming. But yeah, so he had a couple of other things happen to him while he stayed there. So he said that he turned on the light in the closet, and right when he did that, he got like super dizzy. And I don't know, I guess he felt like that was he said, I haven't felt like that in any other part of the house or anything. And so a lot of the things that have happened seem to be centered around the master bedroom.
Yeah.
Which is where I think the death occurred.
Himself.
Yeah. And I've started to do research into like possible explanations for this. And like, I'm just trying to preserve like my reputation as an Airbnb host. Like, I don't want any 1 stars like, yo, this shit's haunted.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I've got like a 4.9 rating, humble brag, and I haven't gotten any like negative reviews based on
even the person that left early.
Yeah, even the
you don't want to admit that. You're like, I don't know what it was.
Right.
Yeah, even the person that left early. I mean, normally when somebody doesn't have a good experience at Airbnb, you would have to really screw up for you to get a negative review. A lot of the times they just won't give you a review.
Yeah. I forget to write a review 99.9% of the times.
Yeah, that's why I always, hit them up. I plead.
Yeah.
Review me.
Yeah, and
but don't talk about the ghosts.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to avoid those 1 star.
So you having like all those conversations on the phone, and so you don't have anything writing about like, did you put in writing that there's a suicide in the house?
No.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not something I want to advertise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
I'm even because Airbnb, because I'm thinking like, I don't want the support reading me going back and forth about, I think he put something with asphyxiation.
No. I want to keep it, PG, and like, I want all my guests to have like a great time and like not be disturbed or see any disturbing things.
And you probably would get a lot of bookings if you like advertise it as a haunted house and stuff, but short term. Like you wouldn't be getting the like month-long, multi-month-long bookings.
Yeah, exactly.
Based on it being a haunted house.
Yeah, and it's only a few clicks of a button to change that.
Right.
So I could always,
We should just do that second listing and see.
But,
what else happened to this guy?
So he turned on the light, and then I don't think there was really anything else that happened. I mean, there was...
Other than that familiar feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that familiar feeling, and then like the closet thing happened, and that was more towards the beginning of his staying there. And then he stayed there for like a long time and saw nothing. In like the percentage of people that have seen things is pretty small compared to how many guests I've had, but it's enough to where it keeps coming up.
Right. With like unrelated guests that don't know the history.
Yeah, it's weird that it keeps coming up.
Weird.
And it's like one of those things like, yeah, I can just ignore it and be like, no, it's not haunted, or, but the history of the house kind of adds to the story of it. And so I started doing research and like I'm thinking like, do I need to hire somebody to come in here and like a professional, maybe some kind of shaman
priest or
like a monk or something? And it's like, but how much money is that going to cost? And like, I already have like pest control and lawn maintenance. And like,
now I got Ghostbusters bill.
Now I got like I got to get an exorcism bill. And like, it's like a cost that you would never expect, as an Airbnb host.
Yeah. Can you write that off?
Yeah. So I've started to do research, and I haven't really looked into any professional services yet because I'm trying to kind of like look at like the different religions and kind of like come up with like a rational explanation.
Okay.
So like, Christianity and Islam, they don't really believe in ghosts from what I've read. They kind of think that when you die, that your soul like leaves your body and that's kind of it. Like you go to heaven or you go to some other place, but it's not still here. And the main religion that kind of really is in tune with this idea of life after death.
Hinduism?
Well, specifically Buddhism. So Hinduism is a little bit more open to it, I think, as well. But Buddhism...
That's reincarnation.
Yeah.
Buddhism, though.
Buddhism is very in tune with the idea that ghosts are real. And specifically Tibetan Buddhism. So, I've been reading this book called the Bardo Thodol, which is the Tibetan Book of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of like explains like what to do when somebody's dying and then like what do you do afterwards. But it also explains like the different bardos, which are the different states of being. There's several states that happen while you're alive, like meditating or dreaming, just being awake.
Yeah.
And then there are two states. Then there's also the state of when you're actually dying. Then there's two states after death. There's the state before rebirth happens, where you're kind of like in this limbo. And then there's the actual state of like being reborn. And there's karmic implications that happen that kind of influence the last two states, right? They believe that like every single action has some kind of karmic reaction.
Yeah.
So committing suicide is seen kind of unanimously, I think, through the Buddhist community as a negative karmic action.
Yeah.
I think that your intentions of when you commit suicide, the intentions that you would have of why you did it would kind of be more or less negative karma.
Yeah.
So, if you did it to like spite somebody, or if you
had some like debilitating, like deadly condition that was super painful and you did it, like maybe it wouldn't be as bad,
right. So if you were like suffering from a heavy amount of physical or mental anguish, you probably aren't going to have as much negative karma as if you did it intentionally to spite somebody or something. So, I don't know what the previous owners of the house, what his intentions were, but I think that it could have impacted his
state, like
him being reborn.
Yeah, so he's stuck.
Yeah, so he could be stuck.
Did I just become Buddhist? It makes sense. I'm into it.
Yeah, he could be stuck in the state, and also when he gets reborn, he could be basically suffer a lower rebirth. So to where he might not be human, or he might be human and be suffering.
Untouchable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so, Tibetan Buddhism kind of offers like some explanations to this. And
What about remedies?
yeah, so remedies, so I'm kind of like getting to that in the book right now, and it's like really exciting. But there are a couple of different things you can do, which both of them so far are a little bit less than ideal. One is
Burn the house down.
to stab the spirit with something called a ritual dagger, which seems like
All
to me
right,
like
Buddhism's losing me again.
which seems like to me like that's a great way to piss a ghost
Right.
off. Like,
And how are you going to find the ghost to even stab
When
it?
he sits next to you.
yeah.
right above that butt print in the memory foam.
So if you stay at my house, you're gonna be
Do you
Wait,
have
can we stay at your house? We are 100% doing this.
Yeah, what's your schedule? Do you have any? Is it available right now? Is there a guest? in
yeah.
there?
So a guest.
Oh my God, I'm going there right after this show.
My previous guest has just left, and we just did a bunch of work on it, so it's all ready to go. It's all clean and everything.
What? Like, I'll stay there tonight.
yeah,
you can stay- you can
seriously,
stay
I will
there
too.
anytime. Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Stay there anytime.
All right. Well, that was stupid. But yeah, hell yeah.
So stabbing the spirit with a ritual dagger.
Do you have a dagger? A ritual dagger?
Yeah.
I don't have
Where does one get a ritual dagger?
maybe on Etsy or something. I don't know.
Actually, I spent a weekend at my parents' house going through a bunch of all my old shit that they wanted
And you
cleared out
found
of
a
the
ritual
closet.
dagger?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bring it.
Cool, done. All right.
All right. Number
What's
two.
the other way?
Well, so just to clarify, so stabbing the ghost with a ritual dagger is not. It's not like an evil thing, like you are trying to kill it.
It's like you're releasing it.
Yeah, you're releasing it to be reborn. So it's
Yeah.
stuck in this, it's stuck
It's
in this.
for your own good. Come here.
Exactly.
It's going to hurt me more than it hurts you.
The ghost might not know that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah.
That's true.
The ghost might be Catholic and not Buddhist.
And so the second way is more of like a gimmick for like children, but in Tibet,
Now we're talking. Yeah.
in Tibet, they will make like what's called a spirit trap that is made out of yarn with like spindles, almost kind of like the concept of like a dream catcher,
Yeah.
like Native American society, but that the yarn spindles would catch the spirit in the trap, and then you burn the trap.
No. Have you
Um,
tried that? That seems
well,
easy enough.
But even this one, like, okay, so what if, like, how do you know that you caught the spirit?
Yeah.
And then if you burn the trap and you haven't caught the spirit, and the spirit sees you burning the trap, then it's like, oh, you didn't catch me in the trap,
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna really haunt your ass, like
Right. Oh, were you trying to kill me in that trap?
Trying to send you to the next stage.
Right. Maybe you just gotta, be vocal about what you're doing when you're doing it, so the ghost knows.
yeah, maybe. So, and actually, I forgot there is a part of the story that I left out. So, my family, my parents, and two of my sisters, we actually went down to the house and had like a seance.
What?
To kind of like try and
We're doing that.
And
I have
Do you have a Ouija board?
I was just saying
Oh,
that.
yes.
uh,
That and your ritual dagger, and we are set.
and at this point in time,
Let's see how the seance went. Hold on.
I don't know anything about this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
so we like lit some candles. And,
So whose idea was it?
it might have been my mom's. I
Interesting.
think.
So your dad came home spooked.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that.
I think it might have been after my dad got spooked.
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, okay, we got to do something. And so we like lit some candles and we like said his name. We were like, I forget what we said. We
Got
were
his
like,
name off the old deed.
Yeah.
How'd you know his name? I guess you bought it from his
Yeah,
estate.
there's like an obituary, and like it also his brother was selling the property, and like, so we could look it up. And when he committed suicide, his name was Patrick, his first name, and he committed suicide on St. Patrick's Day,
Oh,
which is kind of an
Coincidence?
interesting, like weird
yeah.
part. I don't really know if that has any implications on the
Significance,
story, but
So how'd the seance go?
so the seance.
I can imagine you're like, all right, did we do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably how our yarn caching is going to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was kind of uneventful. I mean, nothing like there wasn't like a sudden gust of winds and then
That blew out all the
Yeah.
candles.
yeah, there wasn't anything like that. Nothing weird happened. And like, my most recent guest was still complaining about it being haunted. So I don't think it's really
Oh,
done.
this is after
What?
the
More guests have complained?
after the
The 9-monther?
No, so this contractor, he was my last guest.
Okay,
And
okay.
he's who complained.
Oh,
And
so-
But he's post-seance.
yeah, he's post-seance.
Okay.
So I don't think it was very effective.
All right.
And I don't really see why it would have been.
Would have been, yeah. What did y'all do? Like, what did the seance entail?
I mean, we held hands, lit candles, and we said like, Patrick, like, let your spirit be free, or like something like that.
He's like, oh, okay, now that you said so, I'm free. That's all I needed.
But, part of me being on this podcast,
redo the kitchen.
part of the reason why I'm on this podcast is like, I want to hear about like other Airbnb hosts who have had any similar problems.
Oh my gosh, yes. Please contact us.
Yeah, please.
At Once Upon A BnB if you are a host who's also had haunted Airbnb stories.
And these two Ghostbusters will come stay.
Yeah, we will come stay there for a reasonable price.
And and if you have had this, what have you done about it?
Yeah.
And then also, even if you're not an Airbnb host, do you know of anybody who's like in tune with this kind of thing? Like,
They can help me out.
Yeah, I need some help here.
Yeah. Who are you going to call? That's awesome. Okay, I'm really excited. We're definitely going to do an episode in your Airbnb, and maybe we should like hire like a medium or something.
On short notice, I know that's possible. Let's do it now, though.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Can we? Because we need them to like come record and stuff. But
Guys, all right, we're done
all
it.
right, let's do it.
And whatever you do, so there's in back of my house, there's like this old dilapidated garage, detached garage, and above it there is
Nothing spooky about my
I
house,
know. Right.
except for the shed where he made all his weapons.
there's a studio apartment that's above the garage. And whatever you do not go in there at night. Okay.
Well, now we have to.
It's really it's really spooky in there. It's just like naturally spooky. I mean,
We're gonna do all the don't press the buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of my guests have gone in there, I don't think.
But you just yourself have been spooked out in there?
Yeah, you go in there, you're gonna be spooked out. I mean, you'll know what I'm talking about when you go in there.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, just go in there with a flashlight or something.
Did he like set a trap for us? I'm nervous now.
Patrick's alive.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Well, yeah, we'll see. If we
Wait,
can...
real quickly though, you had another story that you were like about to tell us.
Is there anything else that any other bad apple guests that weren't to do with the afterlife?
Yeah, so I did have. So this has nothing to do with potential spirits or ghosts. Like this is completely separate. But I did have a guest who. So I have a video doorbell, and I get a ping at like 4 a.m. or something, like super late at night. And there's this woman outside, African-American woman outside the front door, and she's like screaming and like pounding on the door and I have no idea who it is. And so I can talk to her through the doorbell. It's like 4 a.m. and I'm like, ma'am, like, what's going on? What's the matter? And she's like,
you look like you've seen a ghost.
she's like, he still loves me, or like, I know you still love me. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, you need to stop yelling. Like, you're going to wake up my neighbors. And
What?
so she keeps pounding. She's still like going ballistic, just like shouting off stuff. And I can hear like the guest on the other side, like telling her to like go away. And so
I don't love you.
yeah, I think there was some kind of like love thing going on, like an estranged lover. So she disappears from the video doorbell, and apparently I found this out later, but she went out to the back of the house and she broke a window with a rock or something, and she climbed into the house.
Oh my God.
and
Bitches are crazy.
yeah, and I guess that she found that he was cheating on her in the house, and she left the house, like, and she like, I saw her from the video doorbell just like running away and was like crying and like,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm just like, oh my God.
Did you keep that doorbell footage? We need that.
I'm sure. I think Nest keeps. I think it keeps it, right?
Send that to us, please. Yes.
Check that out. Yeah, that would be
It's
good.
hilarious.
Be good
Did
to
your
do.
guest ever explain what was happening?
So yeah,
Did he have to pay for the window?
No, so he left the next day unannounced. Like he just like never responded to me again.
Oh no!
And I think
spot got blown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just totally ghosted.
He got haunted. Oh,
Totally ghosted me. Yeah.
After getting,
And yeah, never heard from him again. But I used the Airbnb claims. And they paid for it.
That worked? Okay.
Yeah, and it worked. Yeah, I think that was the only other like major thing.
Well, that was definitely entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a
I can't wait for part 2 of Scarebnb, our seance at your property.
Yeah, so stay at my property. You know, I can't guarantee that you'll see anything. I mean, it's a small amount of people out of a larger amount of people have claimed to see something.
We're going to look real hard.
But keep your mind open, stay observant, and, you know, maybe stab it with a dagger. Stab it with a dagger.
We'll bring a dagger and
You're
yarn.
a dream catcher.
Yeah. We got a couple questions for you. Just kind of these are going to be more Halloween related. So, all right. Would you rather get bitten by a werewolf or a vampire?
Ooh.
I think that's an easy one. I think I would say...
Is that an easy one?
I would say vampire for sure. Because I'm already kind of like, I like the night more. And then like the going through the transformation of a werewolf would probably be, it probably would hurt, I would imagine.
Is that a nightly thing for werewolves?
Monthly.
Or like a full moon only?
Yeah. And then vampire, I think you're stuck in that mode for
life, for eternity,
well, I think
right?
You get
like, don't die.
Immortality.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's kind of sweet.
So what about you, Maha?
I might go werewolf.
Yeah, werewolf.
I'm already pretty hairy. I already have something happen once a month. I'll just be a shut-in,
And you already
guess.
got like a little werewolf.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my baby werewolf.
I don't know. That's the classic question, huh? Team Edward or Team Jacob? I think I'd probably go. I guess vampire. Yeah. I like the sun too much. I'm going to be a werewolf. All right. Let me ask you this: what are your top 3 Halloween candies?
This has changed over the years. So I would say now I'm more into like tarty sweet stuff. So any like sweet tarts.
Tarty sweet stuff like sweet tarts. Oh, that's funny.
And then I really like those caramel apple suckers.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Those are really good.
With the like green wrapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And third one, maybe like some kind of chocolate, just like a Milky Way or like a Three Musketeers.
All right. Follow-up question. Marry, kill, fuck. Sweet tarts, caramel apple suckers, Milky Ways.
Oh, man. I would, let's see. The sweet tarts would be...
That's your thing now, sweetie tart things.
Would be fuck. Fuck those sweet tarts. And then the caramel apple would probably be marry. And the... chocolate, the chocolate would be kill.
I knew you were gonna kill the chocolate just because
it is late ad. Couldn't even pick one like specific
Milky
chocolate.
Way or maybe I'm also, if I'm gonna choose between sweets or chocolates.
You're killing the chocolate?
Well, no, I'd probably divide it like kind of like I'm like TV shows. I'm gonna go dramas and comedies. I'm gonna divide them. So I would have a separate marry, kill, fuck between Milky Way, Snickers, and Three Musketeers.
Yeah. Okay.
What about candy corn? Love it or hate it?
So I used to love it, but I don't like it anymore. It's too
waxy,
too sugary.
Oh.
Just I mean, all candy is sugary, but I mean, it's like extra sugary to me.
Yeah. I'm not
like
a big fan.
Pure sugar.
I'll eat it if I smoke enough weed first, but I've never purposely bought it. Like, ooh, yeah, candy corn.
What about like? Well, all right, when you were living there, did you set up for Halloween? Like, did you put out candy and stuff those 2 years?
No, I didn't.
Not even a take one.
But
I've done the like take one yourself bowl, and it was gone immediately. Those badass kids.
Did you ever help yourself to all the take one?
No, I'm not that type of person.
I did one year. It's just me and the boys.
You seem like the type. Dennis Semenis over here, right?
Bad karma.
Karmic energy on 0.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. All right. 2 more Halloween-related questions. Have you ever been like a female character for Halloween?
Yeah, I would dress up as just a generic woman one time, and I was like,
with your full beard.
I was young. No, I couldn't even grow a beard at this point. I think I was maybe 13 or something. And I had like boobs.
That was your costume. It was just boobs. That's hilarious.
I've done it a few times too. It's always a hit.
Yeah.
Like I was like one time couples we did. I was the Playboy Bunny and she was Hugh Hefner. Done that a few. Yeah, I did.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I was Hillary Clinton, and that was a hit too. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, it's fun. It's always a good time.
You ever
I'm
dress,
a woman often.
Yeah, but did you ever dress as a guy for Halloween?
Probably. I'm trying to think. So when we were little, my parents were really cheap about Halloween costumes. So mine was just my ballet recital outfit, which was like a Hawaiian costume. And my brother was dressed as a man. And they just drew a unibrow and a mustache on him and put him in like traditional Arab garb, like a galabeya. He was just a man and I was in my ballet clothes.
What's your ethnicity?
I'm Egyptian.
Egyptian?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So have you ever dressed as a character that's a different ethnicity? That gets a little dicey.
It does. Used to be fine back in the day.
I was Kanye West last year, but there was no blackface involved. It was actually last year's Halloween episode.
Yeah.
And you just pull the thing over,
He had like a black stocking over his face.
And the jacket.
So that's kind of blackface.
So I have
not the bad kind.
Not the bad
I have had a Halloween costume as a different ethnicity, and I was a blue man. I was a Smurf.
Yeah. All right. Last question that's Halloween related. Then Maha will hit you with some just general travel ones. Zombie apocalypse. Would you rather be the first to go or the last to go?
The first to go or the last to go?
In the
to survive it?
Yeah. Like watch everyone and all your friends and family and everyone you know die, and then eventually they get you too, or probably be eaten by one of those same friends or family, or.
You're really selling that option.
I'm just explaining because most people are like, I'd rather survive. But most people, I've never asked anyone this question before.
It's a kind of a hard question.
Thank you.
I feel like you made it pretty clear you should be the first to go. That second option sounds terrible.
I mean, if it's
or stay alive, watch everybody that you love die, and then they eat you.
Well, let them. I know what you're gonna say now. I guess.
Right.
I'm actually. Yeah. Let's see what Sean has to say.
So I would want to say I want to be the last one because I would be hopeful that I would be able to somehow survive, and and even though there are zombies around, I would be able to create a life like living outdoors where I would be able to forage for food and still be able to survive somehow.
Sure.
I also
guess if you're
picking
the
last.
first one,
yeah.
Because if you're the first one, I guess you're a zombie for a lot longer. I forgot you turn into a zombie if you're the first to go. So.
Yeah, but I mean,
and you're probably the one eating your family.
If you guarantee that you're going to die and there's no hope for you, and you choose whether you're going to be the first or the last, probably, I don't know. I probably would still say last, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. You remember the three other questions we always ask? All right. Well, then I'll remember it, I think. You're traveling. What's your dream vacation? Who you taking? And it could be anyone. And if you all of a sudden your luggage gets lost and you can only rescue one item from said luggage, what's that one item?
Ooh. I mean, I
always bring my spirit dagger.
Right.
Well, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, now it would probably be my ritual dagger. But I always travel with a lot of electronics, so I always have my camera and my laptop, and I've got a bunch of camera equipment, lenses, and so I would be tempted to do that. But the thing is, the batteries are going to die, and then what do you do with it after that? So I probably would just pick some kind of clothing or survival item, maybe a toothbrush or something.
That's your survival item, a toothbrush?
Well, I mean, for what I'm carrying with
keep
me.
Those teeth clean.
I mean, out of all the stuff I'm carrying, I don't carry
That's true. I don't know. I'd
super
take a warm
things.
jacket or something, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Fuck
a
those teeth.
warm jacket. Yeah.
All right. I think it's because we're in survival mode because of the ghosts and the zombies, so that's okay. All right. Will you sign our guest book here at Once Upon A BnB?
Yeah, give us your phrase or takeaway. Or
Let's do it. Maybe ghosts might be real.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, thank you. That was awesome. Love that. That was definitely a scare B&B.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
All right. Well, this has been another episode of Once Upon A BnB. This is Maha.
This is Ian.
Our special guest, Sean.